Business is booming, but you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think unpaid bills were just part of it. Ugh. But batch payments? Wow. Automated accounts payable? Even better. All in one place. That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No bills in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search Xero for your free trial. Conditions apply. Business is booming, but you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think spreadsheets were just part of it. Ugh. But real-time cash flow? Wow. Invoices that chase themselves? Even better. Books that automate? That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No spreadsheet in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search Xero for your free trial. Conditions apply.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them? That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech Magic. I am your host, Kathy Hackle. This is the podcast where we talk about all the tech news, everything from gaming to now spatial computing to artificial intelligence and anything happening in the innovation space that could be of interest to our listeners. I am joined, as always, by my amazing guest co-host, Lee Keebler. Lee, what's up?
Hello. How are you? I've seen you all over LinkedIn. Like, you've been busy.
I've been busy. I've had a busy couple of days, let me tell you. Thursday, Friday, all the weekend. I've been extremely, extremely busy to fill people in and why I've been so incredibly busy. So on Thursday, I announced the launch of my new company. It's called Spatial Dynamics, and it is a spatial computing and AI solutions company that I'm launching. I'm the CEO, and I'm being joined by some amazing tech talent to create solutions for spatial computing. So everything from developing for the Apple Vision Pro, which I know we're going to get into, to creating, to porting apps into Vision Pro and spatial computing, to developing for AR, VR. And, we have a lot of different things up our sleeves, including some proprietary technology that we hope to bring to the market. So, yeah, it's been thrilling. So I announced the company on Thursday, got lots and lots of messages. I already have tons of meetings in New York next week. So I'm super excited about that.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, that's
you've been all through the press too. Like, you keep sleeping on the most impressive part of it. I saw a Forbes article. I saw your name just about in everything. A couple of times on Bloomberg, I think. What happened?
I was on BBC Radio today, Monday. So yeah, it's been amazing. Lots of media interviews. Talked to the Associated Press. It's just been overwhelmingly excited. And obviously, the launch of the company is me going back to my tech roots, which I am super thrilled about. But also, timing the launch, obviously, to go with, I did it on the eve of the launch of the Apple Vision Pro, which is now here. It's out there in the wild.
That's right.
I was so excited.
Now, I will say this. I'm going to give you credit where credit's due. Because I know something that listeners don't know. I probably am the only person who knows this.
Let's see.
That the name Spatial Dynamics was something you were toying around before Apple coined this.
Yep.
You and I talked about this in 2018. You were like, I think spatial computing is the word. You let a lot of other words happen since then. But I remember it was 2017 or 2018 because I remember being on the phone and talking with you about this. And you were saying emphatically, spatial computing is where this is going. So, okay, how did you scoop Apple on their own name? And this is wild.
Well, I was already at Magic Leap, right? So I had been at HTC Vive. I was already at Magic Leap. The word was a word we kept using. I was doing interviews. I'm one of those people that has really sat down to think about what this really means, right? And that comes through.
Because you and I talked
everything.
about it. We're like, is this
Oh,
the
yeah.
word? I'm like, I think this is the word.
Mhm.
Like, this seems, and I know I ran out and registered some domain names.
I know. Yeah, I know you still have some of those, so it's going to be very valuable. But yeah, I mean, it's been a while, and then I definitely timed the launch of Spatial Dynamics to the launch of the Vision Pro, knowing like when it was going to launch, all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I am over the moon. I am super humbled by everyone that's reached out, all the companies, brands, organizations that are already asking for calls to figure out how to work with Spatial Dynamics. So, yeah, I'm just over the moon. It felt right. It felt going back to my tech roots. It just felt natural and very organic. Like anyone that has known me for a while knows that this is part of my like background. This is part of where I've been. So it's very natural for me to go back to it.
Because I think you and I started in the AR space, and then we had a lot of commonality when it came to like computer vision and how spatial computing could recognize like human form and volcap and all of that. So it does feel like an accumulation. We were talking about this earlier today. It's worth just throwing out there is like the whole volcap side of it is now that you can do basic volumetric video basically with your iPhone, and then you're putting it directly, and you have multiple headset brands now that are supporting it. Man, that's such a fast dynamic shift for an industry that has taken such a long time to get off the ground. Volumetric capture is a slow grow. I was working in the volumetric studio stuff when I was at Intel, and like it's not easy. So the fact that we're already where we are with an iPhone 15 and a VR headset, and I say that specifically because you do not need the Apple Vision Pro to see this footage now. Like smart move on Meta to
Meta supporting spatial video. So you're
right.
right.
They caught up on that.
Super
They
smart.
got on that train quick.
Well, I think it's one of the big reasons people are going to use that. So I actually, let me walk you through my experience because it did make me very emotional. I have a video.
Yeah, I do want to talk about that. I saw that video.
Yeah.
I've never reacted to I've reacted pretty strongly to a VR headset. I've never reacted that strongly. So what were you going through there?
Yeah. So, I mean, I was the first person in line for Washington, DC, first appointment of the day. I'm in line, I'm super excited. I went with a friend of mine. And, first of all, getting there, super excited. The night before, I was actually thinking a lot about the Apple specialist, like all the staff that was going to have to do all these demos. Because just you and me have put, dozens of people through demos. We know the experience. Like it can be tricky, right? When you're doing a demo. So I was thinking a lot about them, right? So there's a factor of things. I'm there, exciting moment. I'm the first one in line. I had, it's timed appointment. So it's not like you have like a giant line behind you because everyone's timed at a certain time, right? So in my case, I was in line. I was the first one. There was a service member from the armed forces who was very much into tech. So I actually had some brief conversations with him about IVAS and like the Microsoft HoloLens projects and all that stuff. There was also in line a mom and her son. And I thought the mom was the one getting the Vision Pro. And she was like, no, it's for my son. And he was like a 10-year-old XR AI developer. And she had taken him out of school to go do this. And I was like, this is so powerful. Wow. So I think it was just a lot of things, kind of together. And then before going in, they did a little countdown and, they were counting down. So we were getting really excited and the doors open and we went in. And I mean, just the feeling, I can still feel my heart racing, going in, sitting down. I mean, I had already used the device. That's the thing. Like I had already used this thing. I knew how amazing it was. Like, I was like, they're not going to put me through anything that's going to shock me.
Yeah.
But I think it was more the moment of the experience. I had a wonderful Apple specialist that did my demo, lovely woman who just was very kind, walked through everything. And yeah, I mean, I said, hey, I developed for this. Like I'm, an Apple Vision Pro developer and like I've been in this space for a long time. And she was very sweet. We did the whole demo. And I think towards the end, the last part of the demo, so you do the whole setup, which is really intuitive, by the way. And we looked at several things. They showed me like a, Super Mario trailer in 3D, which is super fun. He showed me a lot of stuff. Towards the end of the demo is actually like collage, let's say a montage of spatial video. And their spatial video, one of them is these young boys playing soccer in an African soccer, like somewhere in Africa, in the African continent. They're playing soccer. They're not wearing shoes. There's these rhinos near the field. There's another shot that's a grizzly bear in the water. I guess he's looking for salmon. There's another shot of a conservationist with a baby rhino. There was just a lot of it was like a clip of things. There was like also a clip of like you flying in these balloons in Turkey and all these sorts of things. But when I got to the bear, by the time I got to the bear, like that was the last part. I literally started getting emotional.
Yeah.
So when I took the headset off, I'm already crying, and and I'm just feeling the gravity of the moment.
Yeah.
Right. Of this is something that, and people that are listening to this might not know this, but they do. You and I have been in this space for a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of hard work. A lot of times people not understanding what we're doing or doubting why we were in the industry. Like, you're crazy. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was that moment, the weight of the moment of seeing this is something that many of us have been waiting for a long time.
A decade.
Yeah, a decade for Apple to bring this to the market, to be here, to be that catalyst to that next stage of what we've been planning for such a long time. So it was partly that. It was also partly the images of the grizzly bear and the animals, because I'm a big fan of like preserving the physical world in animals. And yeah.
Speaking of,
my dog is barking. Oh my gosh, he's nuts. Which I'll tell you, I looked at a video of him in spatial video over the weekend, so I thought that was really cute. But yeah, it was that the weight of the moment, the fact that I was seeing this bear so up close, and I just thought about like the experiences my children are going to have, and how they're going to be able to see, maybe hopefully we'll be able to teach a lot of people about the physical world. Yeah. So that was another thing. And then, I have to say it is personal, right? It is personal for a lot of us.
It is, it's like, I'm thinking back to a lot of people forget that Oculus, which then got bought by Facebook and over time became Meta, and now we have the Quest headsets, which are under everyone's Christmas tree last year. The Oculus headset started as a Kickstarter, and it came out March of 2013. So it kind of hit people's doorsteps in early 2014. We are a decade into it, and let me tell you, the second that hit people's doorsteps, the first question that everyone asked was, when's Apple going to build one?
When's Apple? Yeah.
I've been hearing that stupid sentence for a decade. When's Apple going to get into the game? When's Apple going to do this? And they finally did it. So we're recording on Monday. It'll go live on Wednesday. As of right now, I'm in Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon does not have Apple Vision Pro headsets, unless you drove to like California or Seattle. I think they just skipped the middle
Apple
state.
Fanboy if you're doing that, but yeah, okay.
So we don't have them yet, but we're getting them soon. So even just watching the news roll out, it was this moment of 10 years of expectation bubbling up, and finally, like, it's here. And it's not perfect.
No.
But it's here, and that's what's important. I was talking to, and I said I'd give credit to this, Nathan Bowser, who is I believe he's the CMO of AWE, a fantastic conference that you and I both go to regularly.
We'll be there this year.
Yeah. He and I were just having a meeting the other day, and he said what he really liked about the Apple Vision Pro, because he hadn't tried one yet either, was that it finally set the benchmark. It set we have a range. Before, we didn't really have a range. We had one main product, which was the Oculus, then turned Quest headset. We had one main product, and then we had a bunch of like stuff that was kind of happening in the background, and you kind of had Vive, and you kind of had some like startups that were playing with the idea. We basically just had one main product, and we knew what that cost was. Now we know how far this goes, right? So now we have for lack of a better word, the more luxury product of it.
Yeah.
I don't think the two compete. I think they do very different things right now. I think they both have a place on the shelf. And just for that, I think we can be a little bit more grateful, because it took a long time, even for like mobile phones, to do just that. You had the BlackBerry, and some people had the Sidekick, and some people there were smartphones with air quotes around them, but there was nothing until we had that iPhone. And now we had competition. We knew what the range was. So, this changes a lot of that conversation. It changed a lot of the dynamic between people talking about technology. I mean, everyone is talking about this headset.
Everyone. And, I mean, even the naysayers, they're all, it's the funny part. Even the naysayers are still talking about it.
Yeah.
So I think I got emotional because we've been working on this space for so long, waiting for this to happen for such a long time. The spatial video really, to me, is one of the reasons that I think a mass market would get one of these devices or look into, using a device. And I think the other reason also is because I have to be 100% honest and transparent. And that's what I always bring to this podcast is, as a woman that has been in this space for a long time, it hasn't always been easy. Right. No. And I think at that moment, I felt like we've arrived. The work that I've done to be a leading female voice in the space, come hell and high water, right, is worth it. Like that moment. I don't know. So there was just all those emotions bottled up into an experience. I had no idea I was going to react like that. I didn't think that was going to happen. But yeah. And then as I was walking out, everyone was clapping because I was the first one out, in and out of the store. Yeah. So yeah, for me, it was an emotional, wonderful day. And I think for a lot of people, I mean, I saw the clips from New York where Tim Cook's there.
Oh, and they nailed it. The fact that Tim Cook showed up, flew to the New York store, was there at opening, like that. What in the world? I'm sorry, I don't remember Steve Jobs ever doing that.
No.
That
I don't think he would do that.
But the turtleneck wouldn't do that. But that was a good look. He was in there signing the boxes. And let's be real, that was his product. That was his first product. I mean, they've made iterations of everything, but well, I can't say it was first. He had the Apple Watch and things like that. But that was such a big deal for him. So for him to be there, I mean, I saw friends of mine who I personally know who were at that store getting pictures with him. And I was just like, what is going on? That was a good launch. It was a good launch.
It was a good launch. I mean, I reached out to my contacts at Apple and congratulated everyone. It was a good day. I mean, even with, like I said, even the naysayers, all the negatives, people, you're still talking about it. You're still, you're still helping the industry in some ways.
Yeah.
And I was telling BBC radio today, it's like, this is one of the most advanced pieces of consumer technology, and it's going to be the worst Apple Vision Pro we'll ever have.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's only up from here. So yeah.
Yeah, there are some things that I can see that they can make an improvement on immediately with today's tech, and I think we'll see that really quickly. I mean, if they follow pattern and if they allow history to repeat itself, I'm hoping 10 months we'll at least know what the Vision Lite looks like, whatever, the Vision Air. But it's important that they crammed everything that they did into this one, even if not everything holds up the expectation, because it means that they really tried to do something unique and different. And it is a all tides rise, all ships, or however that saying goes. Yeah. I just don't see this hurting anybody. So, I've yet to try one though.
Pretty soon you'll get to do it on on February 5th or after that. So that's good.
Yeah, I think 6th or something. I don't
know. But I will say, and just you mentioned something, and this is just a side note. Wouldn't it be funny if they name it the Apple Vision Pro XR? Because you know how their XR phones are their light version of the iPhone? Apple Vision XR would be hilarious. I'm not putting my money on that, but that would be super
I think it's going to be called the Air. I think it is.
Air, Light, who knows, right?
I think it'll be the
MacBook
Vision
Air. That would make sense.
I think it's going to be the Vision Air. I think it will be made out of a different polymer and not glass. I think that's going to cut way back. I definitely think that they're going to keep the battery off of the headset. I don't see that changing.
It's wise. I mean, that's what Magic Leap did too. And they got a lot of I remember SAS when they did that. I was like, why would you not do that? It makes totally makes sense.
It has come out that battery is more modular than people thought, because it can get disconnected and replaced. It's not a permanently tethered battery. And I watched a teardown video of the Vision Pro this morning over breakfast. And while I would never suggest anyone take it apart, it is a repairable device. which really surprised me because Apple's pretty customary too. Like, yeah, it's all glued together. It's all soldered into one piece and here's your brick and it works. Don't try to fix it. Yeah. I'm not telling you can fix the thing, but the fact that somebody can, if they have the right, path, someone at Apple can actually work on these things, I was quite surprised with. It was more fixable than I had ever expected. So we'll see where that goes. What were your disappointments? Let's get to the dirt. Let's get to the dirty.
The dirt. I mean, the weight's always been an issue, but it was interesting because I was talking to Bloomberg and I said I could see people eventually exercising with this if they use maybe the top strap, or people are already working out in in the Meta Quest 3, they might work out in this. We'll have to see. I mean, I'll be honest, I had a lot of fun with some of the apps. Super fun. I still think we're gonna need more apps because most of the apps that are on
it's a ghost town.
Oh yeah, it's a ghost town in the sense there's very little that is actually using mixed spatial computing and mixed reality capabilities to truly give you what the power of this device can do. It's a lot of people maybe porting what they've done on web or porting an app. I think you need to adapt it. That's one of the things we're going to do at Spatial Dynamics is be able to adapt things into spatial computing because we understand it, right? So I did some shopping. I took a lot of things for test drive. So I did some shopping. That needs to, I think that the retail experience needs to get a lot better for it to truly be I want to shop in this, in spatial computing. And I mean, I had fun though. I mean, I still, my favorite thing to do in this device, and it's watching some movies. I've been doing emails and text messages, as you know, as I texted you. But I would say my favorite thing is watching the spatial videos that I took of my family. Because remember, I was shooting spatial video over the holidays?
Yeah. You were shooting it on your iPhone, but have you tried? Because supposedly you can shoot it from the headset, right?
I haven't done the headset, but you can shoot it from the headset. Correct.
I'd love to see a side by side and see if one shoots better than the other.
That's a good point. We could do that. I don't know. I was pretty much playing all the videos that we had from the holidays, and one where we had a lot of snow here in DC, and you could see it was beautiful. You could see the snow falling. My dog was running around. My kids were playing, throwing snowballs. It was beautiful. And I was like, wow, so many things that I forgot about the texture of that moment that were like, oh my God, I feel like I'm really, truly back in there. And that was nice. And then my son was turning 12 and, we had a birthday party pretty much this weekend at the house with 10, 12-year-old boys running around. And I recorded a lot of the party, singing happy birthday and all these sorts of things. Cause I want to be able to relive those moments.
When they go to college and you're at home and you're just going to end up watching those over and over.
I'm going to cry again. I'm going to get teary-eyed when I use the headset. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Or, we can play them back. We can play them back when they're getting married and embarrass them.
Oh gosh. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. I'm so glad I grew up in the 90s when we didn't have any of this crap.
It's worse now. Well, I have a good friend that works at one of the gaming companies that's getting married right before South by, and we have a little chat going. And I said, all kidding aside, y'all, do you think he's going to record his wedding in spatial video? And everyone's like, absolutely. So I'm like, spatial video, videographer for weddings. I feel like there's going to be a lot of things popping up, but you wanted to say something about spatial video. What was it?
It was that. It was the question of recording it in the headset versus recording it on the phone, right? I'm just so curious because the headset has a bigger array of cameras, obviously. It's perfectly fine-tuned for the medium. And it has more processing power than the iPhone. So it would surprise me if there was any difference because that'd be very unlike Apple. But in theory, it could be. I would just love, and that's one of those comparisons I've not seen, right? I'm always looking at where's the A/B comparisons for this? We keep seeing comparisons to the weight between this and the Quest and this head strap and that head strap and blah, 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 blah. But I'm looking at it as more of for what it does well. It's wild to me and brilliant for Apple that they've put this very important feature in their headsets, but also in their phones.
Yeah.
That to me is fantastic.
Well, that's where it's going to get interesting because anyone I talk to is it's not about the Vision Pro. It's about all the devices that are going to support spatial video. new iPhones that are going to have more spatial capabilities, new Apple Vision Pros in the future, new devices from other companies, maybe Meta. Like there's going to be such a big amount of devices that are going to be the hardware component of spatial computing. So therein lies the opportunity. That's why, for me, it might be early to do spatial dynamics, but it is the right moment to start.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be table stakes pretty soon. So, yeah.
Well, and there's a mad dash of just like getting everything converted over to a new ecosystem, because it is genuinely a new ecosystem. We're not talking iOS store here. This isn't the App Store. I mean, it's going to be called the App Store. It's going to have the same logo, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But to make that switch now, for the listeners, a lot of apps already switched. Apps in which you could operate them in a flat plane already automatically transferred. So that is why the App Store seems more robust than it actually is. And that's not a dig. Everyone knew that this is exactly what was going to happen. Now that this hardware is actually landed in front of people, people can start developing, converting quickly, making adjustments to pre-existing apps or new app ideas that enable that interactive capabilities. What I am curious to see, if it comes to third-party peripherals, is I'd love to see motion controllers. I know the gaming world wants to see motion controllers. The lack of motion controllers is what will keep the Quest going. That and the fact that it's a fraction of the price. Mm-hmm. Let's be very honest, the quality of the Quest 3 is not like that inferior to the Vision Pro. They just do different things.
They do different things. Yeah, they do different things. Like, yeah. 100%.
It's like comparing, and it is exactly like comparing a MacBook Pro to a PlayStation 5. Mm-hmm. Good point. I think that's a solid, comparison. You can have both in your room and not be crazy, right? Mm-hmm. That makes sense. PlayStation 5 is not cheap, but it's not the price of a MacBook Pro.
Yeah, exactly. And we were just talking about MacBook Pros, which is funny. So I'm heading this. So on the day the episode airs, I'll be at Apple Labs in New York all day with one of my main developers. She's amazing. So we're going to be testing a lot of the things we're doing for our clients. And I mean, it's not necessarily easy to develop for this right now. So definitely anyone that's listening to this and needs some help, reach out. Reach out. This is not an easy task right now, y'all. So
yeah, I would say anyone who has, even if you have like an internal team that has done some work, it is not this. It is such an apples to oranges thing. Yes, it is mostly Unity based. I mean, it can be. It doesn't have to be. I think that's an important thing that is getting overlooked. Is it can be Unity based. I suggest that whatever anyone starts to try to learn how to build on this, start there, because it'll be a lot simpler.
So you start doing, Reality Composer and Xcode, like it gets a little complicated right then and there.
Yeah. But really it's about best practices, right? And it's about knowing the hardware inside and out and knowing what works and what doesn't.
And knowing the mechanics of building for spatial, because I think that's what a lot of the apps that I saw, they were probably running really fast to get them developed or whatever. A lot of these don't take advantage of the fact that there is this spatial component to it, right? That it's 3D. Like, so I want to see more of that, and we're making sure that we do more of that.
So here's a question I have. Yeah. I haven't peeked into like too much into what's in the App Store right now. Mm-hmm. Did you notice any apps with the term VR in the title?
No, I mean, I didn't.
Okay, I only
there
asked.
There probably are. I'll be honest, but like I wasn't hunting for them.
Well, I only asked because Apple
I knew what I was hunting for because I wanted to try certain apps.
So. Just that Apple had made such a line in the sand of like, we're not putting VR and da-da-da. But I saw a couple of people announce as they were releasing their app in the Apple Vision Pro, and it had VR in the title. And I was just very curious if they had walked that back or.
I doubt. I mean, who knows? Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. I will know soon.
You were not supposed to include that as a developer. I know that there were certain rules that you were supposed to follow. So I don't know. It is, I think, a transformative piece of hardware. It's the version 1. It's really what it shows people. And there's I shared a video of Casey Neistat, the YouTuber, wearing it all across New York during the day.
I saw someone driving a Cybertruck, like a Tesla Cybertruck.
There's a guy that got not arrested, but he got turned. He got what do you call it? He got stopped by the police for driving as well, wearing his headset. Yeah, I've started to see people walking around with their headsets. Not here in DC. I was like, maybe I should go down to the National Mall and wear it, but I was like, I don't want to be near the White House and they think I'm doing something wrong. So I'm like, yeah, no.
I don't, here's the thing. Maybe I'm crazy on this. I don't want to see this thing out in the wild like everyone's doing it right now. I feel like that actually gives
shock
it
factor. It's like,
it's a shock factor. It gives it kind of a twinge of cringe.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to do what we saw 10 years ago with the Google Glass, where it's just like you were using it to be seen with it, and you know what I mean? Like, so I don't want to see it like that. Now on an airplane, I'm
so using it on the airplane tomorrow. Yeah. Like, I don't care. Like, it's great. Like, I cannot
airplane,
wait to
airport.
have that kind of,
yeah.
Because I hate having to use like a phone, or if I'm watching my own content, it's usually on my phone or watching on their screen. But like this, I can have like a giant screen. Like, I can't wait. I've been using it for like writing, right? Like looking at websites, a little shopping.
How's the text on the screen?
It's great. Super
Perfect.
sharp.
Okay.
I'll tell you this. Maybe this might not mean a lot to anyone here, but the text with the Vario headset, with the really expensive Vario headset,
right? We're talking $6,500 or something crazy like that. It was
used
super
to be $10,000. Now it's a little bit cheaper. The text on that device, like when you use it, it's so crisp. It's better than eyesight for me. Yeah. I see really well in the Vision Pro, but it's not as crisp as the Vario.
Did you do the custom lenses?
No, because I really don't need glasses.
Yeah,
this is more for eye strain and a little bit on the computer, so I don't really need glasses. I don't need them to see.
I don't need glasses either, but I did do the Zenni lens. I wear glasses like when I drive, for like extreme long distances. And so I got the Zenni lenses because they were like $50, and I tried them with the Quest 3, and it was such a unexpected game changer. It didn't like highlight everything, not everything just turned into HD. My vision was pretty solid to begin with, but it was one of those things where it was better than I had expected.
Yeah. So I didn't do that, but anyway, let's move on to other news. Apple Vision Pro is here.
There is no other news. It's only Apple Vision.
No other news.
Actually, one more question because I'm interviewing you on this. Okay, because this was the this kind of came across from every review I've ever seen as this was a complete and utter fail. What were they thinking? Apple EyeSight. The idea of the eyes passing through the glass and the fact that the glass is way too shiny, so you can't even hardly see it, just whatever they were going for in this Apple EyeSight, which to me was one of the things I was surprised to see. If it doesn't work, I'm surprised they went forward with it because it adds weight, right? It is technically a screen. This is basically a third screen in there. Not a super heavy one, but still it's in there and it's taking some processing power. Is that overblown, or is it really just not that great?
I think it's overblown for the person that's seen it from the outside. But when you're using it, it doesn't really matter. Like, you still see people. Sure. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely not what they showed you in the ad. Like, it does not look like that. I mean, and I already knew this, right? From having gone with a developer friend already to labs before and like looking at each other. But yeah, I think what's the big deal? Like, I don't,
Well, I think the big deal is
do you want people to be able to see your eyes and all
that?
No,
I think the big deal is Apple rarely ships a feature that doesn't deliver. And so that I think is a little bit of a surprise. Now, if that's it, we're golden. We're absolutely golden. Nobody cares. But it is kind of surprising. I personally really liked the concept of the idea. I wanted to see that because there is this issue. I mean, anyone who has used headsets around another person, has a significant other who walks into the room and starts talking to you. Yeah, you turn to them and you start talking to them because you can hear them in the space, but they can't ever really tell if you're looking at them or not. So there is a value add to the feature if it can be done in the way that they present.
I want to tell everyone, it'll get better. It's going to get better, y'all. Like, chill. This is the worst Apple Vision Pro we'll ever have. And it is pretty darn amazing. So I want to move on to some gaming news because we always do gaming at Tech Magic. Lots of different news. We got an email from our friends at Roblox letting us know that they're introducing an AI-powered real-time chat translation in 16 languages. And the information that they shared with us is about 1/3 of all chats that happen are with people with a different language. So basically now what's going to happen if I'm typing in English and I'm in the same server as someone from Germany, they're going to see it in German. If they type to one of the people that's playing with us and that person's in Korea, the person in Korea will see it in Korean, right? So it's all going to kind of be, you're going to be able to communicate seamlessly in some ways with people from different places. So that's going to be, I think, really interesting. Very, very exciting.
And I think this is and you know how much I don't like using this word. I think this is actually a metaverse tool. I think this is a legitimate metaverse tool in the sense that it will connect people in a way that dynamically shifts and brings who they are into a virtual world and allows other people to then interpret them in the way that they need to interpret it. That real-time translation to where you may not know what language they're actually speaking.
You're like, where are you based?
Yes, that what was it? Babelfish style like technology is one. It's so about time. Like it's just one of those things that annoyed me. I remember back, probably 2016. I was really excited about the Google earbuds with my Pixel phone because that's basically what they promised that they would do.
Yeah,
and it didn't really.
It's gonna translate different languages.
Whatever reason, it didn't ever really
French,
get there.
English.
They kind of oversold that. But that's one of those things where like I'm super excited about that technology. So to see it envelop, and I think it takes a company like Roblox to be able to have the mass amount of constant dialogue and text going back and forth. Now, this is not audible translation, so people understand this is actually text on a screen chat box, but that's really still quite dynamic and helpful for people, because when we were building in Roblox, whenever I did some development for a company in Roblox, we would go in and test, and we would always get people who were speaking a bunch of different languages asking us questions and things like that. And even when we were doing like live events, that's where it became most prevalent, is everyone wanted to talk to each other. And you might be a fan of an artist who's doing a show in Roblox, and not everyone who's a fan speaks the same language, not even the language that's being performed on the stage. So like there's something to be said for that. What I do hope to see, and this could really help the developers, is you build your world. A lot of these worlds have signage. It has explanations. It has banners and things like that in it that tell people how to play the game or what the game is or blah, 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 whatever. For that to be able to dynamically shift to whatever language the player is looking for, that would be amazing. And I actually think Roblox is going to do that.
They probably will. I do want to share some stats because I think it's that this kind of highlights how big this opportunity is with what they're doing. It says users across 180 countries exchange 2.4 billion chat messages daily and 904 billion in 12 months. So typically 1 in 3 inexperienced chat messages need to be translated. So that means that 1/3 of the time you're on a server with someone that speaks a different language. So very impactful, I think, very powerful, great use of the technology of using AI.
Just me connecting the dots here and thinking with my sci-fi, like my sci-fi writer's hat on, I can see a world not in the very distant future because of how Apple, we're going back to the Vision Pro, because of how Apple built the personas avatars, right? Like that's not a live feed of you. It is a manipulated feed of what you look like. And you combine that with, and most people don't know this happened, but in iOS 17, they did an update where you could capture your voice so that it could read in your voice print. So it sounded like you. You take the personas, you add the voice print, you add the translation. All of a sudden, I can be in an international call speaking a different language to whoever it is that I'm talking to. And as someone who's worked in a lot of these very large international Fortune 100 companies, oh my gosh, I want that. I want that so bad.
Mm-hmm. No, and I love that. I think the Humane AI Pin did a demo of something like that, but I don't think I've ever seen it in the wild. like really out there.
Yeah, no,
like
we're
some
not there
random
yet. But the bread, the peanut butter, and the jelly are all sitting in the Apple Vision Pro.
Oh yeah, 100%. And we're going to talk in the last section. We're going to talk about AI, and I do want to talk about the AI that went into that device. So don't get ahead of me. Don't get ahead of me here.
It's just what I do.
Other gaming news for us to talk about: Pokimane is said she's leaving Twitch. I think she might have already left. A huge, biggest female streamer on the platform.
We're seeing a big exodus of streamers.
Yeah, lots of streamers and lots of like YouTubers leaving.
Yeah,
as well, like MatPat. Who's that? There was someone else recently that said they were leaving. MatPat was a big deal in my house because my son follows him because of Five Nights at Freddy's and all that stuff. I mean, he cried. He was crying when he heard the video. But yeah, Pokimane, who I've followed for a very long time, she's been on the platform for a while, like I don't know, 10 years. I don't even know, but I followed her for a long time. She's leaving. She's going to be streaming on different platforms. She's already streaming on YouTube. And then, one of the reasons she said, she doesn't like how things have been handled at Twitch. Bans are taking too long. Like it's just, she called it sloppy, I think, sloppy management or something. So yeah, I think
Twitch isn't. Twitch isn't running on all cylinders for some reason. It's I want to see. I think that there's a very strong reason for Twitch, and there's a reason why Twitch is popular.
Yeah.
But it is strange to watch some of these very like large, big lumbering companies that own these channels just kind of take too much time on certain stuff. And a lot of it has to do with like decencies and regulations, to which case we watched a whole Senate hearing on this. And anyone who watched that, oh my goodness, I'm glad I wasn't on either side of those tables. You could have sold tickets to that brawl. It was heated, and I don't think anyone came out unscathed. It was
on both sides, right? It was like,
either
oh
side,
my gosh.
Either side.
I watched the highlights. Felt like I watched the highlights. I didn't sit through the whole thing.
I think the janitor got yelled at. Like everyone got yelled at in this thing. It was gnarly.
Oh my gosh. It was intense. Oof. So yeah.
You think anything will change?
I hope it does in a lot of different ways. I don't know. Like I have a lot of issues with 230. But I don't think we have enough time in today's podcast to get into Section 230 and what we think it should be. Should be changes to that. I think there should be changes. But anyway, so yeah, Pokimane's leaving. I'm quite sad about that. I also want to talk about Pal World.
Oh yeah,
Pokemon with guns.
Yeah.
Which is like everyone is going crazy. It was news today. It was the best-selling third-party game on Game Pass.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like people are like obsessed with Pal World, and the Pokemon company's not happy about this.
No, they're not, and for good reason. It'll be interesting to see what they can if they can do anything about it. I mean, I don't
partner with them. I mean, golly Moses, that's a huge audience. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they do about that. What I am glad about is like it does kind of highlight the simplicity of what a good game can be. And when you compare it to something like what Bethesda put out for like Starfield, which was supposed to be the biggest game of the year. And I think it is the biggest game of the year if you look at the install size, but past that, it's okay. I'm not going to say it's a bad game. It's not. And it is technologically impressive, but then you just take one step over and you look at something like
Pal World,
and it's just you just don't know what's going to hit. But if you got something that's fun, it sticks. But yeah, I don't know what Pokemon does about this.
I don't know. I mean, third best-selling third-party game on Game Pass. It's crazy. The Pokemon with.
Well, do you have the first two in front of you, by any chance? No, it's not on. Okay.
No,
I'm curious as what the first two are.
I don't have those.
I kind of feel like Stardew Valley
it's
might
the
be
best-selling third party. So it's number one as a third party on Game Pass. It's number one.
I heard third and was like, oh,
no, the third
place.
party,
God.
just independent indie game,
right?
I guess.
Wow.
So yeah, Pal World's taking over the world. So pretty crazy there. I took my kids to McDonald's this weekend. That's not something every parent wants to say. But I took my youngest and then I got a Happy Meal for her because they had the Adopt Me Adopt Me is one of the hugest experiences in Roblox. I mean,
Yeah.
my kids have loved Adopt Me. They have all played it. I mean, my oldest don't really play it much anymore, but my youngest does. And they had a Happy Meal. So I was like, oh my gosh, we so need to support Adopt Me. And yeah, we went and bought, and we did a whole unboxing on Instagram. My son was helping me, and he in the video says, I want people to note that this is not for me. This Happy Meal is for my sister who's younger. But yeah, I mean, I was thrilled to see Adopt Me at McDonald's. Kudos.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to see McDonald's kind of like, I don't know. I grew up in an era where McDonald's was always kind of like on top of it with whatever was cool at the time. I remember getting my Happy Meals and it had Back to the Future toys in it, you know, like just to date myself a little bit. But to see like something relevant finally come back into that Happy Meal space, I think any kid who grew up in the 90s is still kind of like a McDonald's kid. If you ever went to or had a birthday party at a McDonald's, you just aren't going to let go that or easy. I had one. Like, yeah, I definitely
been there, done that. Yes,
fourth or fifth or something like that. Yeah,
yeah. We did that. It sounds so weird now. Like, who would have a party at a McDonald's?
It was a thing.
Yeah, it was a thing. It was a thing back in the day. Okay. So now we're going to go on break. When we get back, we'll talk a lot about AI, and then we'll do Dispatch from the Fringe, and then talk about our Super Bowl plans. So let's go on break.
This message is brought to you by Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. And this is more than an ad. This is an invitation to be part of the stories the world can't stop watching, to connect with moments that dominate the conversation, to participate in culture, not just advertise around it. With the most sought-after IP, passionate audiences, and an advanced AI-powered foundation, WBD Advertising transforms attention into influence and impressions into outcomes. This is innovation. This is impact. This is opportunity. This is Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. Visit advertising.wbd.com to learn more.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them? That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Yetis, this is Nick and Jack from the Best One Yet podcast. Now, the last company we worked at, they used Paylocity and everything just worked. It wasn't until launching our own media business, this show, that we realized how rare that is.
Because Paylocity is one delicious burrito of operational needs. They roll up HR, finance, and IT seamlessly into one delicious bite.
When everything wraps together like that all at once, your workforce, your tech stack, your business, you don't need more tools. You don't even need cilantro.
You need one solution.
And that is why Paylocity built a single platform to connect HR, finance, and IT with AI-driven insights and automated workflows that simplify the complex and power what's next.
Or as we call it, a delicious operational burrito.
Yes, we do. Experience a one place for all your HCM needs, besties.
So start now at paylocity.com/one.
Paylocity.com/ONE.
All right, Lee. So let's talk about AI, because what tech podcast wouldn't talk about AI? Like, AI seems to be everywhere. I want to talk a little bit about some of the news. I'm going to start with some of the media news related to AI. So New York Times is exploring setting up an AI team. So that was pretty interesting. Then media like Semaphore are going to start using AI to curate news. So there's this whole conversation happening right now around journalism and AI, and how, journalists can actually start to use these tools. AI is impacting definitely the newsroom and the future of journalism. So there's a lot of lots of things to think there. So what are your thoughts around that?
Well, I didn't know about the New York Times starting an AI division.
Yeah.
I have family who works there in their tech department, so I have some phone calls I have to go make. Because I didn't
Get us
know.
a 411. Go get us a 411, please.
Yeah, I've got in-laws who are over there, so that's a phone call. And I'll still call, and he'll tell me I'm under NDA. You know, I can't say
Can't
anything.
tell you anything. At least nothing you can share here.
Right. Which
yeah.
means I don't have to be biased here. So I guess my question is, how do they, like, I'm curious as to what that balance is going to look like, considering that they're also kind of instigating the lawsuit against ChatGPT, and we haven't heard much of an update since that had been announced. So who knows what's going on in the background there. I've noticed that since that happened, my ChatGPT results have gotten worse. And sometimes frustratingly so. But there's workarounds for all of these things. It is one of those things where it is going to impact journalism. Maybe not in the worst of ways, right? Like, so default. How do I say this? You and I both came from broadcast. Mm-hmm. You came from more of a journalism background. I came from radio broadcast, and basically I was a drive time DJ, you know, early on in my career, which is why I can ramble. So my understanding of journalism is the story gets written and then it kind of gets shoved into a pipeline and a bunch of people pick up the story, and it's really just one writer anyways. So you kind of see that, like, Reuters or AP or whoever has a writer who writes an article, and then that same article kind of just goes to like MSNBC and CNN and like whatever the news outlets are, and they kind of just slap their logo on it. Not that they don't do their own journalism, but by and large, the largest stories that break kind of operate that way. Am I right in thinking about that?
I mean, the New York Times does do a little bit of wire service, but I would say they're mostly doing a lot of their own work. Mm-hmm. So I think this is more about them exploring how to use AI in the newsroom to be better at stories, to do more research. So yeah, so I don't think it's necessarily, I don't know, like, it remains to be seen how they're going to implement the team. And
so let's put on our dystopian hat for a second.
Oh no!
Yeah, we're gonna get dark with it.
I don't want to. Okay, let's do it.
The news is dark. You don't get to bring up journalism and news and
the
like
future
journalistic
of journalism
integrity
and AI. Yeah, it's like a nice,
AI and
nice soft little topic. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this gets deep. So I could see a world where an unbiased news article based on facts gets written, sent out by AP. It comes into two news outlets. One is based on 3 letters and the other one is also based on 3 letters, but they have very different perspectives. They could take that, run it through their AI, and swing their bias into it without ever having to rewrite the article.
Well, they're not supposed to, though. I mean, they can't take the wire article and do that. They're supposed to mention the AP said this or something.
But if their AI rewrites the news, right? Because we're just talking about transference of facts. This is what happened.
I'll tell you this. So during the White House Correspondents' Dinner weekend, and I usually try to be here in DC for that weekend. I don't go to the dinner because that's really only White House correspondents. People actually go is very small. But there's tons of parties and great conversations, and everyone from tech to politics to media is in town. So it's a great time to be in town. And I remember going to the UTA. UTA represents me. It's my talent agency. They had to throw a big party, and I was there, and I was talking to a whole bunch of journalists, and they were talking to me about something called pink slime websites, and like all this news garbage. It's really garbage news. It's not really news. And, you know, with AI, like, this just gets hyper, like, it's like loads of pink slime, right? So yeah, I mean, I do worry about that, about if AI is the only one creating this type of content, what's the future here of journalism? Like, I'm still a big believer that we still need investigative journalism. We still need people digging, asking tough questions, making people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I still think we need all of that. So my hope is
Jon Stewart's back, so we're kind of getting in the right direction. So, like, hey, I'm here for it. That's great. We're not completely sold out here.
Yeah, so I'm hoping, I'm hoping that journalists can leverage AI to do their work, to do better journalism. And I hope that AI doesn't take a lot of jobs away, although I do feel like I'm starting to see that.
It's going to. Technology always takes someone's job. Mm-hmm. Always. It also creates a bunch of jobs. Always.
But
And
in the media, like, I don't know how that is going to work. Like, what, I don't know. I mean, it's just a conversation of like media, like the media model that a lot of these newspapers, especially, go through is not necessarily, other than New York Times, maybe some of the other ones, like they're very flawed business models. And,
Sure.
yeah, it's gotta change. Even like subscription based paywalls, like that seems to not be working. I don't know. I think it's highly complicated. And yeah, and I do want to say, like, I have a lot of friends still in the media, so every time I read about layoffs, I'm always thinking, is this the day they got laid off? Like, I just feel
I have the
so
same thing.
sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I mean, my heart, like, I went into journalism school. I was so happy about doing that, but in today's age, I don't know. Being 100 like honest here, like, if one of my kids said I want to study journalism, I don't know if I would tell them that that's the right path.
Yeah.
They have to decide. It's not my decision; it's theirs. But it would be like, whoa, I don't know.
I mean, I went to school for music business, so
Yeah.
even when I did that, it was a questionable decision. I'm glad that I did it. It worked out for me. It probably won't work out for everybody.
Yeah, exactly, right? Worked out for a lot of us, but it hasn't worked out for a lot of others. So
It's a lot of. I used to go and give talks. I didn't go to Belmont University, but Belmont University was a Nashville Their Music Business School, and I used to go and give talks there. And they're a fantastic university for that. And every class, I would say, if you can think of anything that you would do and be happy other than this, just go do
try
that.
to do it.
If this is the only thing that will make you happy, then you're in the right place.
Mhm.
But if you can think of anything that would make you happy that isn't this, go do that thing.
Well, I'll tell you, most of the people that I went to J school with, they're in corporate comms. They're doing PR, they're doing comms, or they're doing something completely different. Like one of them's a teacher. So like my friends from J school that are actually still journalists are very few. But every time I hear about layoff or change, and I'm like, oh.
I mean, same thing with the technology. I mean, my entire, background with technology and how many developers I know, my LinkedIn is full of green circles. And it's heartbreaking and it's tough. But they bounce back. I mean, this is a correction, and it will correct, and it will go in the other direction. It just kind of stinks for right now.
So anyway, I do want us to talk a little bit about some of the AI that has gone into the Apple Vision Pro. Thoughts on that? I mean, I said on Bloomberg that there's lots of AI already on this device. Like, I don't think people realize the amount of AI from a computer vision perspective and all the scanning and the sensors and everything that it's actually doing. But we also heard the news that Apple might be buying an AI startup that anonymizes data and images, so that blur-free privacy tech could be leveraged in the Apple Vision Pro, for example, first. But it could be used for broader applications. So what are your thoughts around AI in this device?
I think it has to happen. I mean, I go back to...
It already has some AI, though. I think it has a lot of AI capabilities. There's not really generative AI in it, but it will come.
I don't necessarily think it's the generative AI that we need. I have to go back to earlier in 2023, where Tim Cook openly admitted that Apple was kind of caught off guard by the success of ChatGPT. And that they realized how far behind they were when they saw what ChatGPT
But in generative AI, I don't think they're far behind when it comes to machine learning and computer vision.
No, not
sorry,
at all.
I'm getting on my high horse here. I'm like,
yeah. I think it all works together. And what I would love to be able to see is a more combination of generative AI versus kind of what they've got such a good platform with Siri, but Siri still has issues.
Yeah.
And it's kind of surprising that so many years later, Siri still has issues. Those are the issues that Siri has will be fixed with AI. That's really just the missing link here, because you're just doing standard computation with Siri with some like vocal recognition, which in itself can fall into that gap. But the understanding of when it's actually being talked to, when it's not being talked to, when it's the interpretation side of it, and having a deeper understanding of be able to read between lines, understanding when I pause, I can use a comma instead of a period, and not having to say dictate the period and dictate the exclamation point, those type of things. Those sound petty and they sound little, but they will encompass a more interactive environment, and I mean environment in the sense of what spatial computing will do, to be able to have your headset on, you're already using eye and hands. This is what always got me about the Apple Vision Pro. They really push the eyes and the hands.
Your eyes are the mouse. Your eyes are the mouse.
Yeah. And all of that works perfectly magical, but they never really talked about the voice. I never saw them. So in my head, I'm looking at it going, you guys own Siri.
That's coming though. It's like Siri X or the new Siri that they've been working on. I mean, basically anything Apple decides to tell us, towards in September, whenever they decide to make the big announcement, we're gonna have to engage with whatever generative AI they bring into us in some device, and those devices are going to be their phones and the Apple Vision Pro, right? So
sure, 100%. It's simply a surprise to me with the amount of processing power and computational power that they have in this, that this is basically an overpowered MacBook Pro shoved into a tiny headset. It's got an M2 chip and whatever the R1 chip is processing. Like this is more powerful than your laptop. They had the voice in there, but not like, it just wasn't part of the experience of it all. And I think that's just kind of the part that's missing. That part that will be able to interpret its surroundings and change it based on the information it knows about you dynamically. Like all of these things will slowly creep into the space, and hopefully create your persistent world in a way that makes you most comfortable or energized or whatever it is. Like those are all things. And when you start tying in the data that you can get from the Apple Watch, and you can tell how your heart rate's doing and all of these things, there's so much about this that can, if processed properly, can really adapt an environment, virtual or not, to make a better, subtly better experience. And I think that's the key, is like when the AI is subtle and you don't realize you're leaning into it, that's when we're there.
That's when we're there. That's when it's seamless. So, all right, awesome. So now let's go to our producer, Lily, who is going to do the Dispatch from the Fringe. And I will say, so the Dispatch from the Fringe from this week reminds me a lot of a little thing that I got for Christmas. It's a little sign that I have in front of my kitchen.
I don't know what the story is.
The story is, okay, so robots that can tidy any room without any help, from MIT Technology Review, and she's going to dig deep into it. But basically, I have this little sign in my kitchen that says, Alexa, do the dishes. I was like, that's the type of AI I need in my life, okay? I need AI to figure out summer camp for my kids, and I need AI to do the dishes.
Yes.
Okay, so Lily, take us to Dispatch from the Fringe.
Hello, Kathy and Lee. Welcome to this week's Dispatch from the Fringe. In this week's segment, we're going to talk about robots. Now, we know that robots work in laboratories and factories, places they're specifically designed for. But what about your bedroom, or better yet, your messy teenager's bedroom? One group of researchers created a system called OK Robot to train robots to pick up and move objects in settings they haven't encountered before. This is a collaboration between New York University and Meta. They're testing Stretch, who's a robot that has wheels, a tall pole, and a 10-foot retractable arm. It's running the OK Robot system with an open source AI directive. OK Robot system, aka the Stretch robot, uses iPhone's LiDAR camera to scan a room to get the 3D view of the room. And then it runs the AI directive to pick up and move specific objects. The pincer arm did this successfully in 58.5% of cases. And in rooms that were less cluttered, it was 82% accurate. At the time, this robot can only pick up and move objects, but the researchers think that they can add more features to the system, like talking to the robot using voice AI. And they think that they can reduce the stigma around robots, especially in the home, And who knows, maybe one day instead of your Roomba vacuum or even your vacuum mop, you could have a robot picking up and decluttering your house for you. That's this week's Dispatch from the Fringe.
All right, Lee. So what kind of AI do you need in your life?
Right now, I want an AI tax accountant. I just want to just shove all of these 1099 forms that keep popping into my inbox.
Yep.
I should just be able to shove it into a computer and it just does it. There's that I want that. Because, as someone who operates different businesses, contracts, has a bunch of different clients, taxes are just such an unnecessary pain. And I know a computer can do this. And please do not email me for your tax services. Like, I don't need that email. I actually do love my CPA. He's great. But I could definitely see that being it. Let's see what else.
You don't want your AI to clean up your room, your house. You're that
funny,
organized.
Yeah, I do. I do, but I'm very particular about where things go.
Okay. Type A. I get it. Okay.
Yeah. Now, if you saw the rest of this room behind me, like half of it's destroyed because I'm currently reorganizing and rewiring everything. When you run a recording studio, like there's just so many cables. I don't expect AI to ever be able to clean up. But here's my cleanup story with a robot. My grandmother, a couple of years ago, she just got to a point where, and she passed away this year, so this is why I can tell this story. She got to a point where she could not clean underneath the bed. She couldn't bend down to do that. And so instead of, she can still clean, she was still mobile, she could do everything else. It was just the bend down to get underneath the bed to vacuum. And that was something that was really bothering her. And so we got her a Roomba.
Yeah.
Which totally made sense. And so we got the Roomba, we went and we set it up, we hit go, and little robot kind of figured out its thing, and then just, off it went. And this lady who was in her like mid-late 80s just sat down on the couch and watched it. And she just started shaking her head, smiling. And I was like, what's going through your head? And she goes, I have lived long enough to see a robot clean my house. And that's what she said.
That's it.
I cannot believe.
Not quite Rosie.
I have lived long enough to see a robot clean my house.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. I'll tell you this: the Roomba in my mom's house is crazy. Like it'll turn, like literally, I think it's haunted by a ghost because it'll be like the weirdest times. You're like, what? Like it's just the weirdest thing. Like we didn't program it that way; it just goes. And I'm like, yeah, this is like, I think it's haunted. But anyway. Anyway, Lily, thanks for that dispatch from the Fringe. All right, so we're wrapping up, Lee. What are your plans for the Super Bowl? I mean,
I have no plans for the Super Bowl. No plans? I really don't. I'm so not a Super Bowl person. I used to watch the halftime show because of like the music industry stuff that I did, but I've never been into it. Even when like my home team was there, I was just kind of like, okay, I like hockey.
Are you gonna watch the ads at least?
No, because we have the internet. We will see the ads.
Yeah,
we will see.
But there's always surprises.
It's not. So
not even because Taylor Swift is there. She's gonna make it.
Someone asked me who I thought was gonna win the Super Bowl, and I said Tay-Tay. She's gonna win the Super Bowl. Like that's
a Grammy.
Really,
she just won the Grammys.
Yeah, and that's got some weird heat behind it because she won her 13th Grammy. Congrats to Taylor. Yay. And I was not shocked as soon as I saw people up for it. I was like, Taylor gets this. Not that anyone else didn't deserve it, but come on, it's Taylor.
It's Tay-Tay. Get it.
And then she went up on stage and announced her next album. Which
you go, girl. That's how you drop an album.
Hold on. Yeah. Except for, but what happened was, you're not supposed to do that.
That's really? Is it like a byline? Like what?
That's against the rules. Yes. That's against the rules.
She doesn't care.
Now, what's crazy is then everyone retweeted it, including the Grammys. So now I got my conspiracy hat on going.
Oh, no. No. Poor Taylor. She does not need any more weird conspiracies. Poor woman. Oh my God. Anyway, I'll tell you what I'm doing so we don't go with the conspiracy rabbit hole. I'm not okay with that. No psyop situation here. Okay. So So we're watching it here at home. My kids are calling it. Well, I'm calling it the Usher Taylor Swift Super Bowl. I'm
you put
blasting-
Usher first in the line? Come on,
because
now.
I love Usher. Like our
Sure.
Yeah, no, I love Usher. Like for me, it's the Usher Taylor Swift Super Bowl.
I
and
mean,
I'm blasting
maybe,
Usher
but-
like radio edit. I don't even know how he's going to do it because a lot of his songs are a little like bump and grind here. But yeah, I'm blasting radio edit.
They were risky like 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Oh, nowadays, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, what my kids are. Yeah.
Come on.
But yeah, like I'm super excited. They know I'm like they're like, Mom, stop playing. Yeah. Like, stop playing that song, Mom. But I'm blasting all these songs, and they're like, okay. But then my daughter today was saying, yeah, Mom, we were talking today at school, and yeah, Taylor Swift's going to win the Super Bowl. They said exactly the same thing you said. So it's the Usher Taylor Swift Super Bowl in my house. And yeah, I'm thrilled. I mean,
and how
really
wild, like, really who wins the Super Bowl is the NFL, because they are riding this Taylor train, and it's not costing them a dime.
Yeah. And then stressful. It's like, is she going to make it all the way from Japan? Like, oh my God. Like, there's this whole thing.
Absolutely
oh my gosh.
insane.
But yeah,
No,
I mean, the kids are excited. I mean, I think we're divided on who's going to win. So
all I know are the Chiefs. I don't even know who the other team is.
The San Francisco
Yeah, I don't know.
49ers, though.
Yeah, I mean, I never lived in Kansas City or in San Francisco. I don't care. I'll watch the halftime show. Like I'll tune in, or I'll at least like rewatch it on YouTube or something.
Well, I think you're gonna have Ludacris. You probably have Jermaine Dupri, Lil Jon. It's gonna be like Atlanta hip hop. Like that to me is like
right.
So yeah, I'm gonna be. My kids.
Who do you think the surprise? Because they always have someone comes out that you don't know, that you didn't know was gonna be there.
What if it's Taylor Swift?
It's not gonna be Taylor Swift.
No, she's gonna be tired and she's supporting her boyfriend. Yeah. Who knows? I don't know.
I didn't know you were such
Barbie.
an Usher fan.
Ken will come out. I don't know. Like random
at this
Ken.
point.
Sure. I don't know, but I'm super excited. So we'll talk definitely about the Super Bowl next week and everything. So thanks for joining me, Lee. Always fun.
Always
fun. So thanks everyone for tuning in for Tech Magic. Come for the tech, stay for the magic. And as you know, we always have a great time talking about everything that's happening in tech, gaming, innovation, AI, you name it. We're here to cover it and talk about it. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you'll listen to us next week. Bye.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them? That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Yetis, this is Nick and Jack from the Best One Yet podcast. Now, the last company we worked at, they used Paylocity and everything just worked. It wasn't until launching our own media business, this show, that we realized how rare that is.
Because Paylocity is one delicious burrito of operational needs. They roll up HR, finance, and IT seamlessly into one delicious bite.
When everything wraps together like that all at once, your workforce, your tech stack, your business, you don't need more tools. You don't even need cilantro.
You need one solution.
And that is why Paylocity built a single platform to connect HR, finance, and IT with AI-driven insights and automated workflows that simplify the complex and power what's next.
Or as we call it, a delicious operational burrito.
Yes, we do. Experience a one place for all your HCM needs, besties.
So start now at Paylocity.com/one.
Paylocity.com/ONE.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit Jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.